What is up, bros? Be Josh here, and welcome to this week's episode of Weekly Replays, our series. We dive into some pretty dang good replays that you guys send us. Check out some awesome gameplay, breakdown, have some analysis of some good gameplay, what happens with the games, and overall just show some pretty badass games in World of Warships. This week's episode is from tmGrunty on his NA account, one of our guys from the stream, so it's actually kind of cool. And he ended up posting a pretty dang impressive scoreboard, and it's a ship that a lot of people tend to not like too much. And so that's one reason why I kind of wanted to show it off. And it's the Dimitri Donskoi, the Tier 9 Tier 9 Russian cruiser. This is a ship that I think a lot of people tend to not like. It's right before the Moskva, which is at Tier 10, which is known as being a pretty dang solid cruiser. But the Donskoi kind of gets this bad rap of it tends to have pretty flat sides, so it gets wrecked a little bit, and kind of has a weird, followed by the Chappie at Tier 8, or this follows the Chappie at Tier 8. Kind of has this weird reputation of people not really liking it too much. Overall, I enjoy the ship. I think its HE is extremely good. It's extremely accurate at long range. As you can see, 20, almost 21 kilometers, it can still pump out damage with a range of 20.6, and so it has good DPM output, and it actually, with its 180mm shells, it has some pretty solid pen on both HE and AP. So it tends to get a bad rap, so that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to show it off. And actually pretty dang competitive on both its DPM output, having torps, having radar, AA, heal as well. It's a pretty solid ship. Now he is going extremely aggressive right here, and I don't think I would go quite as aggressive. Maybe with the Buffalo's right next to him, I could see that being a tad more, but with the Yamato right there, as well as Henry, well, he didn't really see the Henry before, but the Yamato, as well as the Kurfürst pushing this way, as well as having Seattle, he's basically not going to be able to go dark if he wants to, and not really having much of an out unless he turns in right here, or just accepts his fate and risks it. I mean, the GK apparently doesn't have shots on him right now. I'd be really nervous. Yeah, there's the second one. So this is extremely sketchy, and maybe he got some RNG love right here. Yeah, so unless he's got to throw on the brakes, or he's going to continue on that turn. Pretty dang aggressive right here. I don't know if I would quite do it. I think I'd play a tad safer because you're so accurate at range, and he got apparently extremely lucky that that Yamato can't aim really well 18 kilometers. So broadside Donskoi with Yamato, assuming they have legendary module. I don't actually know, can't really tell, but that was pretty accurate. He got pretty dang lucky right there, so risked it a little bit, up to 35k already, but that's what the ship can do. It has an extremely high alpha damage, a high fire chance, as well as, man, he is just breaking down that Yamato's morale, because the Yamato hasn't been able to land a shot yet. So that's pretty good, but this ship is one that you will have to deal with, or it's just going to burn you down, just like the Moskva. The Moskva is kind of known for that. You have to deal with it because it's so tanky. Now the Donskoi doesn't get the same kind of tankiness, but it does get pretty similar damage output when it comes to the ship. It's extremely good, and it actually has more turrets going out, more shells going out per salvo, but the Moskva tends to be just a tad better. Obviously it's going to have higher alpha damage, bigger shell. But breaking down this team right now, obviously this is a radar ship, and we're looking down, and when you are playing this ship, you want battleships and you want destroyers. So 4 battleships, 2 Kurfürst, so that means obviously it's going to be a big game. But Kurfürst, good to farm down. Yamato, obviously good to farm down. Missouri, not as easy to farm down, but still solid. But lots of cruisers that are kind of annoying for this ship. However, USN, USN, USN. So those are going to be better close range. You'll actually probably win most of the fights long range with these, as long as they stay spotted. Alaska will be a little tricky, and then Henry, of course, is a beast, but the Henry is kind of hanging far south of ACAP, so he doesn't have to deal with that for a while. Again, though, this is just a farming ship because there are no destroyers on this side of the map. Obviously, the gearing is on ACAP, Yugumo on BCAP, so something you're definitely going to want to keep an eye on. And right now, this team can basically just chill. There's nothing really. He has what? Yamato, Yamato, a GK on the 9 line. GK is fine, pushing that side too. A Jutland getting into the fight. Buffalo in the middle, holding down that spot. Their team actually has some pretty dang good positioning right now, honestly. Looks like the gearing is rotating towards BCAP. One thing is a little nerve-wracking. Yeah, so this side is getting way outnumbered, so they have good crossfire from the GK, the Henry, DM, Alaska, Missouri. Now this Missouri is going off into no man's land, so it's pretty solid, but pretty scary for the Salem. That looks like he has no out right now, because if Worcester, I mean, there's a lot of big shells. So this Salem moves. So this Salem's basically dead, but they have that cap. What have they lost so far? Lost the Yamato and that Des Moines early. So that's pretty bad. One thing I'm looking at right now, though, is B cap. I don't know if he sees it. Mainly right now, all HE, which is still fine, kind of in that farming stage. But that's one thing about ships like this is, although it has good AP, HE tends to be a damage over time. So what you are farming, a lot of it can be healed back. Luckily, you do have a decent alpha damage when it comes to the ship. But they are down 2 ships, but still they are going to be up points. So that's at least good. But right now we're looking at, honestly right now, I think, I doubt he saw it. One of the DDs, I think either the Gearing or the Yugumo, was on like 1200 life. If I was him, I would push this way and get that. Just, this is what I would do right here. I would turn hard right, get in here, and then you're gonna have an angle in this little gap right here for the entirety of the cap. If he saw that it was 1200 life or something, I don't know if the Lexington is going for it. Obviously it's sending some rocket planes that way. I would focus a tad more on that. What you're going to do is, if you look at the minimap, they're going to lose a cap and ships, and they're already down ships, so you need to kind of tee up some frags or kills in this game. And even though the farming of the ship is fun and it's going to give you the bigger numbers, I don't think it's quite the best play. I would go in. You can see 2 isolated destroyers over there, and with having that 12-kilometer radar, that would be the play I would go. But he's going to go that side, and they're going to go down another ship because that Salem has nowhere to go. Again, down that, and yeah, what's happening right now is everyone's going to get pulled. These battleships, the GK and the Yamato, are just getting pulled into that corner. But they are, if you really see what this is doing, they're worth their weight in gold, because what they're doing is they're just dragging a Buffalo, a Donskoi, a Iowa, a GK, Yamato. So that is 3 tier 10s, 3 tier 9s into a corner to kill off 2 ships. The Seattle's going to be able to get away unless it gets step struck, and the Yamato is almost back up to 60k already. So these guys are doing good. There's Witherer right there, but right now we are seeing just a bunch of farm, and his team is down 5 kills. But as we see right here, their team is super healthy from the looks of it. Their Lexington is not moving, so that's also sketchy. But Missouri, I mean, basically their whole team besides these 3, so there's 9 ships that are going to be pushing full steam through. And so what I would have done here, and maybe this would have got me killed, I'm not sure, but I would have gone north, tried to get that DD kill. Obviously it's the Gearing, I don't know which one, I just knew one of the DDs was extremely low, and I would have started to farm down that GK already. Now, one thing that is good is they've killed both these battleships, so the shiny is taken away. I always kind of use that example of it sucks to shoot the things that are way off on the side that are nowhere near caps, but sometimes you just have to kill the shiny distraction that they, and here, hopefully we'll see a nice little AP salvo from the Donskoi. So it was the Yugumo, so the Yugumo is extremely low. So there we go, nice little 7k, got a little rob there with those overpens. But sometimes I hate doing it, because it's like, why would I shoot at something on the eye line when there's things pushing in? And see, that Yugumo actually probably could have got killed if he went north, and then he could have started farming. Look how healthy their entire team is. The Lexington's now moving, but their Lexington's probably screwed, assuming their CV is going to pop anything or send any kind of planes that way. And there's nothing that Lexington can do. They're all bunched up. There's no way he's going to get any planes through. But you kind of just have to kill that one ship that's distracting everybody, because if you take away the shinies, then the people will stop going towards the shinies. They have 1 DD left, and it's on the eye line. So, and it's one of the slowest tier 9 cruisers. So down goes Lexington, not too surprising. So basically what they've done is they've traded 3 ships, 2 tier 10 battleships, which is good, and a tier 9 cruiser for 6 ships. So not quite the value you want. This would be something you'd look at and go, yep, this is pretty bad, this is not good, and this is pretty bad and not good. Things you could have rotated a bit more. He's got to be a little careful. Luckily it's the Worcester, and nothing's gonna blast him with too big of a shell. But again, the other side wasn't able to trade. I mean, Des Moines almost full life, Missouri almost full life. The 2 DDs are low at least, so you have that going for you. Double radar, And if they can kill that destroyer, that would be good. But outside of that, you don't have a CV anymore. They do. Not that their CV is going to be able to do too much on the early part of this game, but you will be able to. And there's the kill. There's the second kill, which is good. Arsonist, Witherer already. That's not too surprising, but it was basically just a lot of farming damage. And this is looking sketchy. Again, the Jutland, one of the slowest tier 9 destroyers, if not the slowest tier 9 destroyer. I think it may be, actually. Getting into a spot where he needs to go straight to A cap. That DD needs to go straight to A cap. Obviously, Buffalo was pushing in, making a good play though. Basically traded himself for the gearing. So I would call that a nice little trade. Some good AP damage there, already up to 150k. And yes, this is what he needs to do. So hopefully the battleships will be the distraction. They have the Yamato, a Kurfürst, and Iowa. And there is that AP, almost 20k on the broadside Des Moines, and that's one thing he has to do. He has to kind of shadow, get some range, shadow that gearing, or that Jutland, sorry, off to A cap, and just keep rolling and use those broadsides. He has a good health pool to kind of distract the entire team, which are those 3 battleships, and he needs to get those broadsides and push around. One thing, we're looking at ships like the Alaska, the Des Moines, the Worcester. The Henry's rotating all the way around, so the Henry's playing it correctly, and he is going off to C cap with not much else they can do. As you see, the Lexington is able to get some shots in, or get some planes in. He had to go all the way around and strike the Iowa. It's going to be pretty tough for him. If I'm their Lexington, I probably just focus that destroyer, although they don't know where the destroyer is. So. And not much calling out for targets here. I think I probably over spam F3 key. There we go. So it was the Ugumo. So what could have ended up happening here is Grunty could have gone in and actually gotten the Ugumo earlier. In the end, I don't know if it would have changed too much, but they wouldn't have had B cap till just now. So they actually would probably still be in the lead, as crazy as that sounds. Even when they were down 6 ships, they might have still been in the lead, because it was it would have basically been 0 caps to 2 caps. There's the 4 kill right there, cleaning up, but that's fine. At this point, you just need fraggers, and one thing you need to worry about is that Missouri. So getting a tad aggressive here, but Grunty's been doing that all stream. Does he get punished? Wow, GK does not taketh away. But Lexington will get a drop right here. Missouri is going to potentially have a shot too. Ooh, nice. End up completely messing up that salvo. Has to worry about that Missouri though. But what ends up happening, there's a Citadel. What ends up happening is the Jutland basically has a free cap on A cap, but that will give the information that he is there. So a bit of a tough situation here. I can't really see what the Yamato and the GK have health-wise. Yamato, thing about the Yamato though, Yamato's positioning is pretty solid. He's protected from the Henry. GK though, in a spot that could potentially do some damage. Honestly, if I'm these guys, I just make this push on A cap. GK needs to get his secondaries into the fight. He has way too many tools to not be using them, GKs, at this point in the game. And we just passed the 200k damage mark, so that's awesome as well. But that GK needs to be hitting that W key and getting those secondaries into the fight. Probably the Lexington, and there's Confederate and High Cal, so there you go. Always good to see those awards. I can't see how much life the GK has right now, but this is super sketchy. This is super risky. That Missouri has a lot of life and has its front turrets, so a little bit of a prey to the RNG gods. Could have been easily a dev strike right there, but we are praying with all our might right now that Yamato is in a fantastic spot, basically protecting himself from a whole bunch. And we took a nice little dice roll. Sometimes you have to in these situations. And the GK is starting. I assume this GK is pretty low. He probably has to be pretty low, or it's a bit of a bummer. Man, so much saturation. So much saturation. 10 full hits for like 4K. That Missouri does not have much left. But still pumping, trying to get the back end again. 8 for 24. It's just completely saturated. So at this point, maybe some AP would have done a tad better. But now he's dark, and it was a bit of aggressive on that line he took, but not much he could really do. But one thing that's really good right now is if they kill that Missouri, which they will, GK gets the kill. So GK is pretty low. He has to be extremely careful because that Henry, or the Alaska and the Henry, could work him down. The Yamato will now push in. These guys are in a really good spot. It's cruisers versus battleships. battleships tend to win those. And one thing that this thing needs to do is they split up damage. GK focuses on that. Yamato needs to not get torped by the Henry. That is the damage they cannot give away right now. And right now, probably Lexington is just off to Grunty's left. Gets the dev strike. That is exactly what they needed. So good work there. And there we go. The Henry basically just gave away the game. What could have happened right there is the Henry could have easily... The Henry going south is almost a guaranteed loss for them. At that point, you have to just push in. Even though the Henry only has 16k, you have to round that corner, and it wouldn't have actually been spotted if the Henry would have gone south and then gone in. The Henry can basically one-shot a Yamato if it gets close enough and has the right angle. The Henry going south basically just loses them the game. If he would have gone, he had to just push B, get torps in, use its AP, and hope that Yamato doesn't have its shot or wait for the shot to go out. Him going south achieves nothing besides just farming more damage. So this is a GG. 260k damage. The Henry will continue to go. If I am Grunty, what do I do? Do I go towards the CV? They don't really know where it is. Alaska gets the curve first. It does not matter. The Yamato and the Jutland will go off to C-cap and stop it. Yeah, the biggest misplay of this game was that Henry not being aggressive. As you see, he's not achieving anything right now, and nothing is really going to happen the rest of this game. Grunty might get killed, so that's one thing we start doing the math right here. Grunty's isolated, doesn't have an AA consumable. Its health, he'll probably get up to like 14k, 15k, whatever it'll get him, and not much he can really do. Luckily, the Lexington is out of planes a little bit. AA sector on the wrong side. And there is the Henry right there. So again, I think even if they kill off Grunty, there's the AA switch. So obviously he doesn't have manual AA, but they got kind of gifted this win by that Henry. The Henry just didn't have the plays to do it. Missing a couple planes, and yeah, I think you just let yourself be the distraction. The Henry might want to go south. The CV's gonna. You want to get you want to get a nice distraction ship away. Henry AP is absolutely no joke, but the Yamato going in, the Jutland going in. I mean, this Yamato is basically just, or this Yamato, the Henry's basically just throwing this entire game. He is going to achieve a negative effect on this game. Even if Grunty goes down, they're going to have all 3 caps. There's no way they're going to be able to get another kill unless they detonate something. Lexington looks like he hasn't been going for the Jutland all game, and even with him being isolated, it's no big deal. So they got kind of gifted this. They went down 6 and came back, so that's always cool to see. Cool. Will that get it right there? Oh, the Henry, you troll. Why you troll? But what are we at? 268. 8 planes, so that CV went right through the flak. Feels good, man. And he'll actually, is he actually gonna beat out the Henry right here? This is kind of sad. Henry getting beat by the Donskoi. So there it is. There's that Crackalakin. Another reward. Another medal. 270k. Tanked almost 206 mil. So that's awesome. Plane damage almost 30k. Spotting damage almost 37,000. And yeah, he goes, "You are welcome, team." Well, to be fair, I think he could have made this game a little easier. By rotating to B cap, and then having those DDs be kind of taken down a tad early. But in the end, would it have mattered? I don't know. It's not like the Yuguma went and did a bunch of damage. Like, as you see, like, what's the trade-off? Potentially he dies from getting focused by too many battleships, although he could spread out the actual the pressure from all the caps. So who would have? That's what I would have done. In the end, though, what he did worked, and they got a bunch of damage. He would have definitely got more damage than I would this game, getting high caliber Confederate, Arsonist, Witherer, Kraken, and with this Lexington, didn't really go for DDs. But the biggest misplay was by far on that Henry. He said instead of doing something productive, he said I would go south and not really do anything. So once I saw him rotating south, it didn't matter points wise. They were going to go stop the other cap. and they were going to lose out on cat pressure, so the CV wasn't doing enough, and in the end he got a pretty nice game. So I'm interested in what you guys have to think. The Donskoi I've always liked. I think it's a good tier 9 cruiser, and I'm interested in what you guys have to think about the Donskoi. The tier 9 Russian tech tree cruiser, do you guys like it, hate it? Are you gonna willing to give it another try? What do you guys think? And as you see, 270k, almost 400 main battery hits, 17 plane kills, 5 kills, got that crack-a-lackin', 17 fires and 5 citadels. So that's really what you want. You want a good mix of using both HE and AP. So overall, a fantastic game. I would have played it probably a tad different, but in the end, it worked for him, and he probably got much more damage than I ever would have gotten in that situation. And there you go, won the weekly replay for this week. So I'm interested in what you guys think about the Donskoi, the Russian cruiser, and hope you guys enjoyed this game. Awesome base XP. I mean, just absolute craziness. So this is a really, really good game, and an awesome comeback, being down 6 ships at one point. So that is always freaking good. So anyways, GG's to Grunty, this week's winner of weekly replays, and I will see you guys next week. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.